Yeah, these are not great, but this is actually one of the best and worst things I've seen to come out of a knockoff Lego stuff that I've seen. Now, if you guys don't know, Steph actually bought me these as part of the random Etsy stuff you can buy, Lego kind of accessories video we did. You can check it out right here. But yeah, this kind of got me thinking actually about what Lego and Nintendo could actually make if they decided to do Pokemon, which I would absolutely love. I'm a massive Pokemon fan. Now, obviously, these guys have basically copied the idea of what they've been doing with the Super Mario characters, where they've been brick built, and then added it in kind of a similar scale to the minifigures. But the minifigure selection here is terrible. Some of these Pokemon are absolutely awful, but let's go into them. I'll show you what you can get. There are, for some reason, 5 Ashes, which, yeah, they obviously couldn't. Maybe the guy didn't watch the series or something and thought that Ash was the only one. But actually, most of these are actually from the games as well, which is really, really strange. So we'll get on to this first one, and this is Ash from Diamond and Pearl. Now, this one's actually probably one of the better ones out of these ones in the selection. And to be fair, the printing on these characters don't look too bad. But as you go around the back, you will see how terrible it is, the fact that they have dual facial expression with this cap on. So you can see that the entire time. That just looks so stupid. In fact, I would have preferred they just had one facial expression, and actually I might try and rub off the face I don't like on each of these to try and, because I think the printing, it'll easily come off anyway probably, so that'd be easy to do. Also, the accessory quality of these caps and the Pokeballs are really, really bad. The caps in particular are really terrible plastic, but they've got the nice different printing on actually of the different caps, which is quite funny. But the Pokeballs themselves are actually a really, really good idea. I love this connected ball piece, and I think if Lego did make Pokemon, this would be a great use to get different Pokeballs. It looks a little bit big, but obviously so do like apples and drinks and stuff like that in the Lego kind of minifig scale. So I think these look really, really great, and I'd love them to do this. Now, this Pokeball itself, I have no idea what it's supposed to be. I've had a look to try and get some research, because this isn't like your generic standard Pokeball, but you can kind of use it as that if you wanted to, because it doesn't look too dissimilar for the generic Pokeball. And actually, we get 2 of these in the pack. I don't know whether I accidentally got sent 2 of them and didn't have a normal Pokeball, because I don't have a normal one in this entire collection. But this one, I can only kind of find that it might be what's called a Sport Ball, which apparently used to be, you can only get it during bug catching contests or something, but I haven't really seen much of this one anyway. So if you guys think it might be something else, let me know in the comments down below, but yeah, that's all I know about it. The next one is probably the worst Ash, and it's actually one from Ruby and Sapphire, I think, but this hood piece, it's like super loose. You can hear him rattling. Yeah, not good at all. But, you know, the face expression actually isn't too bad. Again, it just has that terrible dual facial expression on the back. It just looks awful. But this is a yellow Pokeball, which is really interesting, because again, I have no idea what this one is. But so the one I can think it is maybe a park ball, which I think is the one you can get where you go into the parks and you can catch the super rare Pokemon usually towards the end of the games. But yeah, other than that, I have no idea what the yellow one is supposed to be. So again, if you guys know, let us know. Now, this next Ash is, you know, this is the OG Ash from the original series. And this is probably my favorite one, bar the facial expression. The facial expression is absolutely terrible. One of them is kind of funny. It reminds me a little bit of like the anime South Park episode they did for the Chin Pokemon. But yeah, the actual jacket looks really, really cool. I like the printing. It's pretty decent actually, and the legs look okay as well. But again, they're just, yeah, the quality is terrible. The clutch on the head is just really, really bad. But having that cap with that logo just is definitely nostalgic to me. And then obviously we know what this Pokeball is, and it's actually a pretty decent rendition of the Ultra Ball. I think that's pretty sweet. It does look kind of cool. I really do like this one, and again, it's one of like the more common Pokeballs we see in the games and stuff, so that's really cool that we get that one. Next we have Ash, I believe, from Black and White. Looking at the gear, this one doesn't look too much like the actual show, but yeah, it's not too bad. Again, cap's got a different print on it again, but again, it has this terrible dual molded face. It just looks awful. And this time, this is probably my favorite Pokeball out of any of the Pokeballs, obviously, because it's the Master Ball, and it does look pretty decent, kind of very similar to what it actually looks like. So yeah, overall, not a bad one. Like I said, these are all terrible, but in terms of kind of getting what it looks like in the real world, it's not too bad. And then the last Ash in this collection is Ash from Pokemon X and Y, I think. Now again, the printing looks pretty decent on this again, but yeah, it just doesn't look right. I don't know what it is about it, but again, it's just obviously because it's knockoff. The plastic's just cheap and stuff, so it's not that great. Again, terrible printing on the back with the dual facial expression. Just looks really, really weird, and the cap is just that terrible quality again. But this one does come with the Love Ball, which is pretty sweet. That's kind of a bit of a rarer Pokeball, so I think that's kind of cool. Quite like that one. So let's get into the other characters they use, and I really don't get why they use the other two, but this one, obviously, she's a classic, and that is Misty. Now, sadly, Misty doesn't look that good. Her front printing doesn't look too bad. Obviously, she's got those classic red stripes going down to be her braces, but the actual, like, her shorts are absolutely awful. They're really, really badly printed. You can see it doesn't even go all the way in. So if you actually bend her, it looks really, really odd. But like she's got no printing on the back either. So it just looks like a weird like front waitress dress or something. It just doesn't look good at all. Back printing is not too bad because it has the cross of the braces. That's pretty cool. And again, she has that same weird pokeball that we were on about before. But this hairpiece is such bad quality. I'm hoping you can see this on the camera, but it just looks absolutely awful. It looks just really cheap plastic. Cool to get Misty in the set at least. Misty is obviously a pretty well-known character. So this next one, I think we know what it is. I actually asked Roguerunner, who's also a Pokemon fan, to kind of go through these and kind of help me. But we think that this one is Serena from X and Y because it looks very similar, but not the anime version, the actual in-game version. She wears this kind of similar stuff, but she usually has a hat on. Now, this one's not too bad. The hairpiece isn't actually too bad, nowhere near as bad as the Misty one. The printing looks pretty decent on the dress, but again, no side printing, which makes it look really, really odd from the sides. And yeah, her hair actually gets stuck. I mean, look, I tried to take her head off and it just takes off her legs instead. And then if you try and take that, it's just, yeah, they're not as good as real Lego for sure. And then this Pokeball looks like it could be the Timer Ball, which is again another cool one, but it also does look a little bit like the Premier Ball, but I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the Timer Ball, which is quite a cool one to get as well. And the last one I believe is the rival from Diamond and Pearl, and it is Paul. Now again, the jacket's pretty cool. This guy has another popular Pokeball here, which is obviously the Great Ball, which is cool to see again. So we get the we should get, I think, the standard Pokeball, which I don't have, but we do get the Great and Ultra Ball, which is pretty cool. So like them three main ones I would consider. But again, really terrible quality hair piece, and yeah. So there we have it. They are the figures from this series. I really don't get why they chose like 5 Ashes. It would have been really cool if they had a go at maybe Jesse and James from Team Rocket, maybe Professor Oak, something like that. I think that would have been a lot cooler, but yeah, they went for the 5 Ashes for some reason. I don't know. So anyway, we'll now get into the Pokemon selection. And some of these are really weird why they chose these ones out of the series again. But obviously it does have 4 of the main standard ones, which are the original 151, the original 4. So you got Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, and Pikachu. Now, out of these 4, I think the best one has to be this Bulbasaur. Really, really simply done with a 2x3 brick and then studs for the legs. He's got this pretty decent print face. I think it actually looks a lot like Bulbasaur, and then they've used the little cheese slopes to make the ears. I think that looks really, really cool. And then using the back piece there to kind of create that bulb on the back, I think that looks wicked. Definitely, I think he is the best one. He just looks like Bulbasaur. Obviously, if Lego had this as an actual pattern or something, they could have done it rounder and added a couple more pieces to get some more fine details. But yeah, I think if they did this, it'd be so, so cool. Then out of these next 3 OG ones, yeah, Squirtle looks absolutely terrible. The printing of the face doesn't look too bad because he has a kind of a rounded face anyway for the baby ones. But yeah, they've had to use that weird like 4-sided snot piece, which just looks really awful because it's got like that piece on the back. And then, yeah, it just looks really, really weird. He just does not look that good at all. But from a distance, you do know who it is. You do know it's supposed to be Squirtle. So I suppose you've got that to go off of. Charmander is basically exactly the same. Again, the printed face looks pretty decent, but the rest of it just really doesn't. I mean, they had to not be able to use a printed piece for his body, so they could use this weird tail piece to get that fire piece put in. So I get that they've used that, and it's kind of a cool idea. I hope Lego would kind of use that kind of style to make Charmander, but yeah, other than that, he doesn't have any legs. Like, none of these guys have legs. They look like kind of like a serpent or something. It just looks really, really odd. The funniest one has to be this Pikachu. I mean, when I built it, I couldn't stop laughing for like 10 minutes off camera. I mean, it looks awful. The Pikachu face is really, really cool to see. But yeah, the ears are it's kind of a clever idea for the ears. But I mean, that body with that tail piece just looks, yeah, it just looks really, really weird to have one of your favorite characters in Pokemon to just be destroyed like this. But again, they've got the sizing kind of right. So if Lego did add a couple more pieces, or kind of, you know, obviously they're a lot cleverer with how they design stuff, we could see something which would be really cool to minifig scale if they did do a Pikachu. Now, my favorite one from the bunch is actually this Gengar. I think this one looks really, really great. Now, the use of those side pieces, I think looks great for the arms. I really like that. The print looks absolutely awesome for his face. They've really nailed the kind of expression of Gengar. Again, they've used those cheese pieces just to kind of get that the ears, and again, just some easy studs for legs, but I think very, very simple, and it does look pretty decent. It reminds me actually of the Womp from the Lego Mario series, but in a much smaller scale, because he's also very square and angular. But yeah, I think that one looks great. So from the best to the worst, we have this absolutely awful rendition of Mewtwo. The face, again, the printing on the face looks pretty decent. They've got like obviously the generic look of Mewtwo, which looks great, but what is that purple banana sticking out of his back doing? And I mean, Mewtwo's massive, and he looks like stunted and on a weird like modified 2x2 brick. It just doesn't work. It really just, yeah. This guy would have actually been better if they just used an actual similar color actual minifigure and then had like maybe a back piece that had the tail connected on, or they could have just printed the tail on with that Mewtwo head. That would have been so much better than this weird. Arguably probably the worst or next to worst is this Pidgey. I mean, what's going on there? If you look at it from the front, you can't even see anything, and then they've got the printing of the eyes on the sides. It just looks really, really bad. I mean, yeah, I don't even know which way around this is supposed to go. It just looks, yeah, that one's just, yeah, fail. And then the Eevee, I kind of got what they were going for. I think it's very clever, and LEGO could definitely use something more like this. But yeah, it just looks weird. I mean, the banana piece sticking out the back, I get it, it's supposed to be a tail, and I really do like the piece they've used, which they've used before as like a nest and stuff on the bookshop. I get that for the little frills, that's kind of cool. And even the actual ears look okay as well, but altogether, I think it would need to have, obviously, a better mold. Yeah. So overall, I just think these are really, really funny. They're not very good at all. Do not waste your money on knockoff LEGO stuff. It's not good, but I just wanted to show you how bad these are so you guys don't buy them. Great idea. Love the pokeballs as a great idea, and I do love the built ideas for the Pokemon. Obviously, if they were going to do this, they wouldn't be able to do even the original 151 because that'd just be a lot of figures, and then there's like over 900 now, so I don't know. But really, please LEGO, please do Pokemon. It's such a cool theme, and I do think it would do really, really well. But anyways, let me know if you enjoyed this video down below in the comments. Will you be kind of getting this even though I've told you not to? Do you think like that these Pokemon things are actually a good idea? And would you like to see LEGO actually make Pokemon like me? I just think it'd be absolutely awesome. But if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And if you absolutely loved it, then how about subscribe? And as always, have an absolutely awesome day. I mean, come on, definitely Gengar and Bulbasaur are the best out of these. And I mean, the ashes, why do we need 5 ashes? It's just the stupidest thing ever. But I mean, look at that. It's got to be the worst thing I've ever seen.